Hey guys, welcome back to the Zen Den. I want to talk to you a little bit more about preparedness, and I actually have something for show and tell today. So stick around. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is canned foods. Now, I don't know about where you guys all live, but in Canada, they have a stamp on every can of food that you buy with a best by date. Now, that doesn't mean that it's no good after that. That just means that it's best before that date. So, I want to give you a few things that I have always, all my life, gone by when it comes to canned foods. And it's because my mom did a lot of preserving and we had these rules. So, when we had canned food on the shelf, we applied it the same way. So that when you open it, first of all, you look at the can, make sure there's no dents, make sure there's no rust. And make sure it's not bulging in any way. Any of that, you really shouldn't get into. You should just pass that by. I know they have a lot of clearance items that are dented, and people tend to buy them, but it's really not a good idea because those cans won't last long. So a good idea would be to go through your stock if you have a bunch of canned items and use those any dented cans first. Anything with rust, I would get rid of. If the dent is really sharp, I would just get rid of it. And if it's bulging at all, get rid of it. So you want to look at it, you want to smell it, and then you want to taste it. So in the event, like with me, with my jarred food that I can, if I'm ever skeptical in any way, whether it's I have a cold and I can't smell it, or I can't taste it, or whatever, what I do is I boil it for 10 minutes. So if which I don't think there is anything in there that's harmful to us, so you boil it off in 10 minutes. So that's always an option. I don't know if that applies to actually can stuff. I don't have any experience with it, but I mean, check it out. Okay, so the Best By dates are just garbage. I mean, there's YouTube videos, you guys, of people opening cans from like 50 years ago. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of them aren't great, but even if you go back 10 years, I mean, people open stuff and eat it and it's fine. So, a couple things I want to go over on things that you can stock up that will literally last forever. Um, so, I love coffee, and I've tried over the years storing coffee in different manners. So, I've tried the whole beans, I've tried ground coffee, and then I've tried instant coffee. My number one pick, and the only thing that I vacuum seal and store on my shelves, is the instant coffee. Everything else will lose its taste, its smell, and its color. Not so much color if it's out of direct sunlight, but nevertheless, it's not a quality cup of coffee anymore. Where I've opened instant coffee that's from like 5, 10 years ago, and it's fine, it's exactly the same. The reason being is that's freeze dried. I believe all coffee, instant coffee, is freeze dried. From what I can tell, I mean, if you look at it, how it's in a crystally form, it only makes sense. Other things that will last a super long time, now only if airtight, are things like rice and beans. Pasta will, I mean, I put the pre-bagged pasta just into a bucket and it lasts for years and years. It's all good. Um, Now, and flour, sugar, salt, a lot of your spices, you're looking at a good 5 year shelf life if they're airtight plus, right? That's the very, very minimum. Um, so now I keep saying airtight, airtight, airtight. So a lot of people have, I do have a video about vacuum sealing things on my YouTube channel under a preparedness link. I can't remember which one. I'll link it up here somewhere. I'll put a card. But I want to go over how once you watch the end of that video, I talk about this. And it's something I've talked about, and it's my vacuum chamber. So a friend of mine built this for me. This is my vacuum chamber. It's made from plumbing parts. In the video on my channel, if you watch the whole thing, you can get all the sizes. I've clearly shown them. If you can't see them for any reason, just leave a comment down below and I will send you the information on it. So they're super easy to make, you guys. Not that I've made one, but I mean, if you think about it, you're talking about a PVC pipe cut to whatever length that you want, however tall you want it to be. Now, you can go tall with these things if you want to. If you have, like, say you want to, I don't know, there's not a lot of tall resealable bottles that would fit in that diameter. Now you can go with a bigger PVC pipe and a bigger flange. Now the price goes up drastically when you jump from this size flange to the next one. It's I mean, if you can afford it, by all means jump in with both feet. However, as I talk about in my video on vacuum sealing, having a bigger vacuum chamber is a lot of work for me. So I prefer having this one. So anything that can fit in there, I can vacuum seal, right? As long as it has a lug lid, a metal lug lid with the gasket in it, which most things come in. So now you don't see a machine, right? This is it. This is all I got, right? There's no motor. You can see inside. This is it. So it's for off-grid. You don't need power the way I use this. You can hook it up to the machine. You can also hook these. These are vacuum sealers. They go over top of your mason jar. And then the hose off your machine would go into this. And then you hit the button to seal it. Remembering anytime you're doing anything that's powdery or dry or anything, you want to put a fabric or like a coffee filter or a piece of something to hold down the powder so it doesn't get sucked into the thing, because then you'll lose your seal. So this is like a regular mouth and this is like a wide mouth. So those fit your standard canning jars that you buy at the store. However, I have a lot of other jars. The reason is because I can buy them way cheaper at secondhand stores. So I buy a lot of the classical pasta jars like this. And they fit right in here, right? I just drop it in there and then I vacuum seal it. So now I'm going to tell you how I vacuum seal it. So it's an automotive part that I use with my air chamber. And it's this. It's a brake bleeder. So a lot of the guys, you probably know what it is. Maybe some of the women know what it is. It's a brake bleeder. So it's meant for doing brakes on a car to take out any air out of the system. However, it works in this application. So now I take my vacuum chamber, and the way it's made, there's like a grommet put on the end so you can push this hose over so it gets a good attachment. And then you just plug in, because I've Mickey Moused all these hoses together with the different attachments that came with different machines and whatnot. And now I can vacuum seal that jar with this brake bleeder just by pumping it. So the thing is that it takes a while, and that's what I'm leading up to, is if you make a bigger one, dude, if your jar isn't super huge, you're going to be there for forever. It's a good way to get a little bit of hand exercise, a little bit of bicep and forearm exercise in. It does take a little bit of doing, but again, I mean, if you do up 10 or 20 jars, you know, you could do a couple a day, or one in the morning and one in the evening, or whatever. Have your kids do it, have someone that drops by do it, and just get everything done. So I pump it until that gauge stops moving. So when it stops moving, then it's telling me that it's already removed all the air. And then you just open that flange, and now it's vacuum sealed, right? The top is dented down on this little jar, so it's airtight. And you can do that with anything you want. You can put, I mean, again, whatever fits in the air chamber. You can put your spices in jars. You could dehydrate garlic. You could put flour and sugar and anything you want. Matches. You can vacuum seal anything you want into a jar that you can find. And again, thrift stores are a great place to go and get those. So when it comes to, what do I have here? Oh, I already talked to you guys about that. That's good. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I hope you guys found the information useful. Look at your stuff. Make sure that you're rotating your stock around, and try building one of these. You know, you can probably have the PVC pipe cut. If you have like a Home Depot, that's what we have. It's like a big box kind of construction hardware store. You can probably have them cut the PVC to the length that you want. Again, remembering, you know, how much longer you're going to have to pump, and the fact that once you have the vacuum chamber, you can hook it up to your machine if you have like one of those food saver machines that, you know, sucks the air out of the bags. So all of these things are usable when it comes to the vacuum chamber and the brake bleeder. So you have a way to always vacuum seal your stuff. So those 6 jars of soup now that you have on your shelf are totally usable storage, because now you have the vacuum chamber to get the air out. So have a lovely day. Thank you so much for coming by. If you have any questions, stick them down in the comments. I bless you. Bye-bye.